Again, it's Ed Hill, comedian Ed Hill from Vancouver, BC. Vancouver, right? Did I get that right?
That is correct. It's just a few hours from you and just as rainy as you are. So.
Yeah. Last time we talked, you had your special under pandemic conditions, but now since the world seems to be opening up, and I was in Phoenix, Arizona, and the pandemic's over down there, just to let you know. How have you been as far as getting out there and touring and getting acclimated back to seeing people in real time, real life?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a learning process. I mean, one of the things I noticed getting back on the road and, booking shows is anything could happen. Things could happen at the borders, things could happen with your flights, things could happen in the venues, how many people can come in. So there's a lot of kind of, you almost have to be at peace with whatever the moment brings you. And I think it's a really good practice, to be honest, to just be like, okay, it is what it is. This is reality. Let's just accept it and move on. And that's just been like that since I've been back on the road in the fall. So
you started back in the fall. Now, was that in Canada? I assume it was in Canada, or were able to go places in the US? Where'd you go?
Yeah, so in the fall I started in Canada, and there's a bit of a break because of Omicron, what happened, from November to mid-January, and then kind of started back up earlier this year. And I've been actually going into the States starting in February. So Alaska was actually my first stop there. So it's wonderful to be back, and people were excited that shows are coming back, and it's nice to see the people. Last time was there 2.5 years ago. And then beginning of April, I'll be down in Seattle and getting into, California, Boise and Idaho and Houston, Portland, so on and so forth.
And so since when you first came back, how was it dealt with the whole vaccination thing, the whole mask thing? Was it something that you were able to work into your comedy routine? Were people sensitive to that? How was it coming back and dealing with those issues?
Yeah, my material doesn't really, again, I'm not an observational comic, so I don't do a lot of observation as to what's going on in the world. Usually I talk about my experience through the time like this. So something I talk about is, the fear, right? And I'm scared too. And we're all from different communities, and we have this fear of what's going to happen to our community because of the things that's happening. And one thing I really talk about is what I learned is, the only people that can destroy your community is yourself, because it's your community. So you have to actively participate in the destruction of that community if you want it to fade away. And the other thing is, then you're the only person who can actually, save or protect your community, which goes hand in hand. So that's something I learned. A lot of times, obviously being Asian, there's a lot of different things happening to us in our communities. And that was one thing, do I want to be an active participant in the destruction in my community, or do I want to be the figure of perseverance and resilience in my community? So that's why I learned. And that's usually the things I talk about. So I don't really get into, the mandates change every 35 minutes. So really, I don't have that much time to write new stuff in 35 minutes.
Then it comes stale. But so talking a little bit about the Asian issues and some of the backlash that's happened. Has anything happened like at a show with respect to things like the coronavirus and things of that nature?
Yeah, you kind of get the big, swing between. I think this is just because there's more hardship in the world, or we tend to polarize, right? Either the conversation is no longer gray. I think people are losing the nuance of what life is. It's either questions are either too offensive or is just too sensitive. So that's one all you get is either, hey, is it okay if I do this, or why are you doing that? So that's really what I experienced, as overt, attacks. It actually, unfortunately happened to my cousin. He was just walking down the street and he got punched in the head. Some guy decided to run over and just attack him, and we couldn't find the guy. And this is part of, I think it's just part of, the times. And to be honest, we're used to it, as sad as is to say. It's not new. So it's been around for a very long time. It just kind of ebbs and flows depending on what's going on in the world.
Gotcha. Now, thinking in general, though, How have the audiences been coming back? I mean, do you find them more receptive to seeing live entertainment, or do you see them a little more reserved because they don't want to spread germs or anything from laughing? Or how have the audience been?
I mean, I've changed. So I think I've been doing some reflection on this. Part of it, initially I was like, oh, people are different. People are definitely more appreciative of the time that we're spending together, being able to do things that we do. But then I sort of realized I also changed. So I don't know if it's because the audience has changed in mentality because there's not much entertainment and so things opening up, or because it's interaction between me and them, because I also changed as a person. And I'm starting to really, and then in my shows is a lot of times, comedians, we chase the laughs. Now I'm listening for the silence, because the silence is when this indication that people are paying attention. And that has been quite rewarding. Is sometimes the room's so quiet because they're waiting for you to say what you're going to say that you can hear a pin drop. And that's really where I've been, seeking, because then this is really, then we're connecting as people. Like, you're listening to what I'm saying. You may not understand, you may not even be empathize, but you're listening. And I think just the dialogue is so important.
Interesting. And do you find yourself when it's that quiet and that silence that you almost you lose your thoughts when just because it is that silent and you're up there, and you lose yourself in your thoughts at all?
Well, I mean, when you, after the show, you go back to your hotel, you go home, that's all you get. That's just the silence. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of used to it. So it's different to do it on stage, obviously, but it's nice. It's nice to, a lot of people find it daunting. For me, I actually find a sense of comfort. It's like, hey, we're in it together now. Because sometimes people laugh to deflect, right? They laugh to actually, it's not necessarily they're participating in the humor, is they're just trying to, push it away. And I find that contrast. And I mean, I don't want a show with no laughter. That's not good either. That's not what I want.
No,
but
not at all.
it's that balance between the silence and the laughter that really I'm starting to see the value of.
And so since I have you on a day after it's happened, what would you do if you told a joke, somebody didn't like it, walked up on stage and slapped you? I'm assuming you saw what happened at the Oscars between Will Smith and Chris Rock, and I just wanted to get, as a comedian, your thoughts about that actually happening.
If somebody's gonna slap me, I hope it's Will Smith.
Yeah.
Because now I have a brand new hour out of it. And that's what I realized when I was watching that. I'm like, I'm about like, 60% comedian, 40% just, average citizen. Because I'm looking at that, I'm like, oh man, Chris just got a brand new special. There we go. That is gold, right? But then the other part of me was like, wow, that's got to be tough, to hold it together and continue doing your job. I'm like, kudos to him, to be thrown off and still keep going. So,
as a comedian, oh, I'm sorry. As a comedian, do you feel like, I mean, Chris was riffing. It seemed like, that didn't seem like that was a scripted joke regarding G.I. Jane. I mean, is that something where you, as a comedian, are you okay with the riffing, or do you have to always feel like, oh, I better not say that, I might offend somebody? Does that ever come across your mind?
Yeah, I mean, we are our own worst critiques. That's what I believe in. So sometimes for myself anyways, I'm like, do I want to say that? Do I not want to say that? So there's a lot of back and forth. But I think in this instance, was it the best joke? No. Is it the funniest joke? No. Did it deserve a slap on stage? 25 million people? I don't think so either. I think, if Will was not happy with what happened, there's more effective ways to dealing with it. And, Yeah, it's unfortunate the way it rolled out, but kudos to Chris for keeping it together and keep the show going. Show must go on, right?
Well, Chris looked like he was about to go into something, but then he reserved himself and remained a pro. Um, so, have you ever had any close calls like that with somebody getting really upset with what you're saying up there? Obviously, I assume no one slapped you on stage, but has anyone ever you've had to deal with a really bad heckler or anything like that? And how did you resolve that?
Yeah, I mean, happened a few times. Sometimes it gets dangerous. Done shows in the South where the KKK comes to the shows. So yeah, so the whole club was, and this was just before the 2016 election, so it was very touchy. I did a show one time. I don't know how the promotion happened, but it just so happened that 95% of the crowd was the Vagos gang. So there's all, the nemesis to the Angels. They all came in their gang colors and they had bikes outside. Police showed up because like, why are these people gathering? I got on stage, I'm closing the show and their color's green, right? So I'm like an idiot. I'm wearing like bright green shoes, Jordans. And I walk on and these guys got like knife scars on their faces. And like, some people are missing a leg and stuff like that. Just, not scary folks. So I get up and they're like, "We like your shoes." I'm like, "You can have them the minute I'm done the show. Just don't kill me." And they were actually quite receptive as a crowd. So I mean, there was definitely a moment where like, if I'm not funny, I'm dead. So, and that's the lines a ton of times we have to walk. I think one of the most tense moments actually is not with the gang or with extremist groups. Is actually there was a lady who was just she was there for a bachelor party, I believe, and she was just too intoxicated. She couldn't get it together, and she was disrupting the whole show. So when I went up as my, to close the show, I kind of, dealt with it a little bit. And yeah, she tried to storm the stage, and good thing one of the comics got involved and stepped between, say, "Hey, nope, you're not going on stage. You're leaving." And then the management came and pulled her out. So yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. Oh, wow. Tales from the road. Wow. Well, you are back on tour. You're coming to Seattle Saturday, September. This Saturday, September. This Saturday, April 2nd. No fooling. April 2nd.
You're in the future. You're looking for September.
Now, so I unfortunately I'm out of town, so I can't see you. But tell people again how to get tickets. And see your show, what to expect at the show.
Yeah, it's going to be a brand new show. It's a follow-up to my comedy special. So it's really a focus now on my relationship with the women in my life. And it's a discussion really about, strength and fragility, what those concepts mean, and also the idea of love, and this is what I learned from the female figures in my life and how that applies to me and my relationship with myself. So it's a different feel of a show than the special, which was really about family and my relationship, my parents. This one's really between my relationship and the women in my life and myself. You can get tickets, I believe it's on strangertickets.com, or you can go to the Rendezvous Theater website. They have a direct link there. It's in the Jewel Box Theater within the Rendezvous Theater in Seattle.
Yeah, so you are only in Seattle, one show only, then you're heading off. I saw you doing 3 shows the following weekend in Boise, Idaho. I didn't know you had such a following.
Yeah, I've been there for about 4 or 5 years. So yeah, it's good to be back also. Yeah.
Awesome. But so it's a one night show, one night only, correct? So it's just one show, one night only.
One show.
Yeah. Awesome. So we better go check that out. And then, but you're working every other. It looks like you're working every weekend of the through the end of the year. Is that correct? That's great.
Yeah, and there's a few bigger tours coming out also. I'm prepping for obviously the second filming of the special. Hopefully take place at the end of the year. So yeah, there's I'm participating in a number of fringe festivals across Canada, and then there will be I'm going to the East Coast to tour on that side, both the Maritimes provinces and also the East Coast of USA.
Nice, very, very good. Before we go, I just wanted to ask you another Canadian question. Kim's Convenience. Why did they end so early?
Are you asking me as to why, or you just in general why?
Yes, I am.
I wasn't on the
I
show, so
feel
I don't
like
know
there
what
was
to
no
tell you.
closure. I feel like there is no closure.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
as a Canadian, you're the only Canadian that I've talked to.
yeah, I think from what I read was I think the show has become something that wasn't what the creator wanted to be anymore. I think again it's that battle between I think corporate interest and also authenticity of the story. And oftentimes when writers, want to maintain authenticity, shows can continue because I think there's a certain image they got to uphold in order to sell it. So yeah, sometimes business and art just don't merge. And interesting you brought it up because Innes actually has a new play that he's touring. I think
Really?
across North America. I think um, it's called Bad Parent. I think it's called. I think it's coming to Vancouver. Actually, I'm gonna try and check it out. Yeah, he has a new play.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, hopefully it will tour more of the Northwest, but anyway, you led into the second, talking about the second special. So is that already determined that it's going to happen? And if so, when?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. We haven't determined when, where, and how. So, I mean, this is definitely preparation for. I'm trying to iron out the final details. Hopefully by beginning of April, mid-April, so I can make an announcement.
Okay, excellent. And then for those that are watching, tell us where we could find more about you and pick up your other CDs or pick up your last comedy special.
Yeah, I think best place to go is go to my website. It's kingedhill.com. I think I've talked about this before with you, Jason. It's I put King in front of Ed because there's a street in Vancouver called King Edward. I thought it'd be hilarious. It was the beginning of my career to do that, and then I realized most people don't live in Vancouver, so now I look like a giant pompous ass. So I'm not a king or a royalty in any way. Or if you want to find out more about my special, you can go Amazon Prime. It's streaming right now there.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ed, for your time. We look forward to hopefully see how it turns out for this. We look forward to that, and then your upcoming specials, as well as the other specials that are your first special that was out there, also on Amazon. So again, Ed, thank you for your time, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always nice to talk to you.
Excellent.